gentlemen, welcome to From A to Z. Oh man, how we doing out here? It's
We're doing crypto's wacky right now. Sentiment's weird, market's weird. We're doing. I don't know what to say.
yeah, that's about it. I mean, it's going crazy. And I mean, you know what? This is the agreement. This is the Faustian bargain that crypto has made by hitching ourselves to Donald Trump. Like, not me explicitly and not you explicitly, but crypto.
Yeah.
And I mean, also Trump has adopted crypto in a big way. Like, he has hitched himself to crypto
In a big way.
In a big way.
I don't know that I'd say a great way, but in a big way.
Did I say great?
Nope. Nope.
Okay, good. So, all right. So to catch everybody up, if you're not in crypto, you know, because honestly, like, hopefully there's a lot of people who are not yet in crypto that watch our show because of the human coordination aspect of it.
That's the core.
Like, that's why you're here. It's not for the crypto and the AI and the technology stuff. You're here for the human coordination. And why these things are important in the broader scope. So, what happened? All right, a weekend before Trump gets inaugurated, the dude decides he's going to launch a meme coin. Basically, like, the most useless thing you can do. I mean, he's already done NFT projects, but when he wasn't the president, he did an NFT project. All right, whatever, you know, but to launch a meme coin the weekend before you become the most powerful man in the world is insane.
That's some degen shit.
It's narcissism. Like, there's definitely a crazy level of narcissism to do that. Like, I mean,
it's a pretty bold move. It's a pretty bold move, but it paid what, billions?
Well, I mean,
It
so
hit
that's the
70
thing.
billion market cap on the first day and then dropped.
And that's one of the things that we should, like, make sure is known is, like, first of all, Trump did not make billions himself. Like,
Right.
The coin itself
the market cap.
Right. So, however, him and his insiders and other people did make money on this. Like, they didn't.
Those who sold at that $70 billion valuation did make money.
Right.
For sure.
And the big problem here also is that it's the most not fair launch ever. It's like 80% insiders and 10% still to be released, and 10% was released. So everyone who just bought in, like, you are just going to get dumped on. Because if you bought in, if it's already at this high of a market cap with only 10% of the tokens, that means people can dump the rest of the tokens and steal all the money out of the 10%. Like, they have the
It's a token to be careful with.
Yeah. Right. And it's the other 10% is supposed to come out over the next 3 years, which means that he's going to be finished rugging the American people before he's even out of office. But
maybe.
So then he can pardon himself again. But the point is,
TLDR, it's crime season.
No, you said it. It's crime season. That's where I'm gonna put the "It's Always Sunny." There you go. No, it is crime season, and the president just
Bend the
declared
rules.
it, so it's crazy.
Break the rules. Do what you want.
And yeah, like, it's absolutely nuts. And the reality is, even if you voted for him, even if you're into crypto and even if you're neutral on the whole thing and you just, like, are a crypto person and you're like, ooh, bag's gonna go up because of this, you know, I don't necessarily like Trump, but I do like my bags going up. Here's the problem. He launched that meme coin and made $70 billion into that meme coin, which is $70 billion that did not flow into other things. And part of it flowed out of other things. We saw the whole market completely dump that weekend. So whether you voted for him or you're just a neutral crypto person who's like, yeah, I don't like Donald Trump, but whatever, my bags are going to go up. Well, the problem is that when he launches a meme coin the weekend before his inauguration, that $70 billion was zero sum in the sense that, like, it wasn't all fresh. It was a lot of fresh new people, but it wasn't all fresh new people. And a lot of the whole crypto market dumped that weekend so that people could rotate out of Bitcoin, ETH, and a bunch of other stuff to buy Trump. And so, therefore, he basically stole the entire thunder of the crypto market to make it about himself.
$70 billion of liquidity from other places in the market
Right.
moved from where they were to Trump token.
To make it all about himself. Like, he's such a narcissist that and I made a tweet about it instantly. I was like, this is the Faustian bargain we've made. Like, when you sign yourself up to this kind of person, like, get ready for them to be waiting there with a bag wide open to capture all the value. It's not about us, it's about him. He does not care about the crypto community.
There's a lot of people seeing this as, one, a great opportunity for, like, look at all these new people in crypto. Look at all these new people using the tools. Most of those buys and sells were done using the Moonshot app.
MoonPay?
Moon, whatever it is, the built-in app on Apple phones that you can buy with your cards. It doesn't matter. They're not using crypto. It's crypto on the back end. They're just pushing app buttons. They're not using crypto in the way that, we would like people to use the tools to help themselves.
Right. They haven't moved on chain for real.
Right.
And they're only here for Trump. And the reality is Trump and the people who bought Trump, for the most part, are not here for decentralized values or cryptography or data protection or any of the you're definitely not here for human coordination.
You're trying to dump on people. It's a pump and dump gambling game. That's not crypto how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But the view where I was going with that is the attitude seems to be that Trump's lackadaisical, do what you want kind of angle on crypto has been taken as a good signal. It's been taken as a good thing for crypto, a positive thing for the system. I'm not so sure that it is. I'm not so sure that we're greenlighting the right things. It might be more eyeballs, might be more attention. And while attention has value, it's not just about attention. It has to be about understanding. It has to be about adapting and adopting these new tools.
Right. And so no, I agree with you. And I remember us talking about this before. And so my view is that, yes, the Democrats were unfair to crypto businesses. There's no doubt about it that, I mean, if you really look at it fairly, like, they took millions of dollars. Matter of fact, I forget the exact number, but the exact number of money that Sam Bankman-Fried donated to the Democrats and the Republicans, to both parties, is the exact same amount of money of customer funds that are missing. So it's like it's the same number. It's almost like 1-to-1. So, like, Sam Bankman-Fried, though, was, like, lauded by Gary Gensler. He was the one everybody was talking to make policy with. And then he was the biggest scammer of them all. And then as soon as Sam Bankman-Fried is outed as a scammer, the Democrats start going after legitimate legal companies who, like Coinbase, who had tried to do everything up and up by the book as legal as possible with, considering the lack of clarity that has been given. And so my view was, yes, it was hard, but if we want to create truly decentralized, like, government-proof technologies, then that's what you need. A trial by fire. You need to not have it easy, because having it easy means you're going to build the meme coins, you're going to build the pump dot funds, you're going to build the things that are, like, totally zero-sum games, and you're not going to worry about the consequences because the president just told you it's crime season.
Right. Yeah, Russ Albrecht is free, which I think is probably a good thing, but maybe semi-related. Tornado Cash no longer sanctioned, which is probably a good thing, but
However,
also a little crime season.
the trials have still yet to happen, and it's really about the freedom of the people who created this code, because it's not
Right.
fair that they go to prison for it, especially if the code is no longer illegal. I think those are positive moves. The problem being that, like, at what cost?
It's
That's
complete deregulation. It is
yes.
like blind remove all regulations. It's
And
not right the
so
ship. It's get rid of everything
this is
and
what's
make it just a
interesting
free for all.
too. I know Trump's not playing into this because he's too much of a rogue actor, but it doesn't mean that the rest of the Republican Party and the Democrat, the RNC, the the GOP and the DNC, they still function like they function, and they're buddy buddy. Like, they are not enemies. Like, their voters are enemies. They are friends. They go to the same dinners. They all go to Epstein Island together and wherever else. Like that. They're all buddies. Bottom line.
Yeah.
So, my opinion, if we're gonna put the tinfoil hat on, is that, like, we have a good cop bad cop situation. We don't actually have a two-party system. We have a one-party system where one party is, like, all for the compassionate people, and basically and then the other party is all for the people who don't have any compassion and look at everything purely through a, like, zero sum, energy resources conservative way. So, like, what ends up happening is, the reality, since there's good cop bad cop, is the Democrats actually don't want, like, poor people to succeed anymore. Like, welfare programs are not meant to, like, pull you out of poverty. They're meant to get your votes.
Right.
Like, because if it was, then, like, they wouldn't have the anti-crypto army, which is a bunch of banks trying to shut down financial tools that would actually give you the power to set yourself free. Like, because the reality is, like, welfare programs aren't going to give you political freedom, period.
No,
Voting,
they give you political dependence.
right. And so my opinion is that the Democrats set up the football for the Republicans to kick. Now, here's where it goes the other direction. It's not a one-sided game, because the Republicans do the same thing for the Democrats. And that's because they tell you, guess what? It's crime season. And everybody comes and sticks their heads up. And in 4 to 8 years, when the Democrats are back in office, we know who to take out. We know who to regulate. We know who to put in handcuffs, because you thought it was crime season. I mean,
It's a trap.
think about it. I'm pretty sure Mount Gox, Silk Road, all that stuff, like, well, Silk Road specifically, even Cheetos can, dude. I think all that stuff happened once Obama got in office, right? So, like, under Bush, crime season. Under Obama, time to go to jail. You know what I mean? So, like,
Oh my god.
like,
Huh.
I think we're going to see the same thing. A bunch of people are going to think, oh, I can do whatever the hell I want. They're going to create a bunch of, as Gary Gensler would put it, crypto securities. And the Democrats are going to get back in power, and they're going to be like, guess what? Crime season is over, and you didn't get to
Now we've got a list.
Yes, we got a list, and you didn't get to Aruba fast enough. And
Dang. So the moral of the story is, like, just do the right thing always, even in crypto. I don't know. It seems fairly straightforward.
And if we're here to build technologies that are gonna set us all free, then it can't be zero sum. And so
There
it's
we go.
clear that some of the people who voted for Donald Trump are about that zero sum game. They want people to lose. I don't know why they feel that way, but they want to see other people lose. And we are trying to create a world in which everybody wins. And some people think that there can't be a world in which everybody wins, but the reality is, we bury cheese.
It's just how you design the games.
It's how you design
You get
the
to
game.
choose.
We bury cheese, we subsidize farming, we throw away all that food that's been subsidized. We throw thousands of cars a year are just, like, impounded, thrown away. Like, there's just, like, we have massive amounts of waste just to produce just to keep the GDP growing, and then we shame poor people and we shame minorities for like looking for a better life when we're literally just wasting it and throwing away. And like, you know, you look at any downtown metropolitan area and they've just got the lights on. The lights are
Yep.
always on for nobody. But you got people in that same metropolitan area freezing and dying in the street while the lights are on and the heat is on for nobody. And it's just so dystopian to pretend like we have to live in a zero sum game, and to actually hate people for not being able to compete in this game when we literally just waste it and throw it away. And I get, as a person in crypto, like more than ever in my life, like I've always been, you know, a liberal person as far as like, you know, I'm in that bottom, I think it's the bottom left quadrant of the political spectrum. Like I really am live and let live. Like I think that that is the best way to be. You really can't control other people's actions. And our, you know, just for,
Nor maybe should you, because everybody else wants to do their own thing too.
yeah, and just for, you know, maybe I'll throw this in the episode, maybe I'll put this in the edit, but just for some like perspective, like our current political discourse in the US is all at the top side of the graph, which is authoritarian left and authoritarian right. So it's both sides saying, I want to tell everybody to act like my side. And
Yeah.
I understand that there is a clear difference between the desires of the two sides and what they're asking people to act like. But my personal beliefs as a human being, you know, to my core, and I guess it also defines then my personal, my political beliefs, is that you'll never get a person to not hate you. You'll never get a person to like you. But we should be able to live in a world in which there's enough for everybody to live and let live. I don't need to like you to let you
Yeah,
live.
you should eat just as much as I should eat, even if we disagree on stuff.
And that's the
Because
thing.
we're all here. Nobody's choice to be here.
Right. And so, you know, I think another thing we get really messed up in the political conversation is that we talk like money is an abstraction, and we get very caught up in the reality of the abstraction because, you know, like we actually think about the money as the food. And so, like, we actually, you know, it causes people who don't have financial literacy to cling too much to the idea of the dollar. When I thought about this, and the reason fiat is a good design is because fiat was never meant to be the hard asset. It was never meant to be the thing you own. It's always meant to be the
Right.
medium of exchange, which means that the rubberness of money is important to it because it gives it the ability to adjust to supply and demand on these things. And I think that a lot of people on the left conflate the exchange of money for goods as capitalism. Like
Hmm.
under any monetary system, under any political system, you're going to have the exchange of something for goods. Like money
Right.
will exist.
Purchasing isn't capitalism.
Right.
Selling an item because you can make more money by selling the item versus the sum of its parts is capitalism.
Right. Capitalism is another level above the money. The idea of
Right.
money is going to exist. And I think some
Just
people
transacting.
think that doing away with capitalism means you do away with money. And so I think that's like kind of
Important.
why, right. And I think that's why a lot of people don't really like or understand crypto because they're not seeing what you and I are seeing, where we're like, okay, this is a more self-sovereign medium of exchange, or more importantly, a store of value. This is a place that I can put my money and feel safe. And then I know that I have to come back to dollars at some point to do things. I'm okay coming back to dollars because now I'm in control. Like I can take my dollars out of the system, put them into a better system, and then when it's time to get my dollars back, even USDC, even if you're putting it in USDC or any other stable coin, it's still a dollar. I'm getting better yield opportunities on chain, but also like I'm just more in control of those dollars. Yes,
The
technically,
custody is important.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm just not in a bank where I feel like, anything could happen, even if it's just a website down, like whatever. Like whatever. I'm not going to get into all the nitty-gritty. Point being, I think a lot of people, because they've conflated the idea of money with the predatory things that have come out of our particular breed of capitalism, this crony capitalism and this
Well put.
predatory capitalism. I'm not, yeah, it's a very nuanced discussion, and I think just slapping word, that's why I really try to avoid a lot of buzzwords. And so, or at least when we're going to use them, I try to like really discuss it in a way that it's like whatever the thing that came to your mind, listen past that for a second.
It's that, yeah. Yep.
Get
Words
the
are hard.
preconceived notion out. Let's discuss past that. And so removing the idea that the exchange of money for goods is not the same thing as the system we currently live under.
Right. That's just transacting.
Right.
And everyone should be able to freely transact without needing to get permission to transact.
And that's really what it comes down to, is that if we're going to create a better system, we want to have everybody should have access to the resources of this world. And I think that the predatory system that we've created, it's all built upon property rights. And I think that's really where, I'm not saying do away with property rights for sure. That's another nuanced thing, is like defining where too much property has accrued and power. Like once we're building feudalism all over again, when you get to the point where, the people don't own any of the production and they don't benefit from any of it. And it's happened already with the literal hard commodities of the world, but it's going to happen, and it's already happening with the digital commodities of the world. It's happening with our social media platforms, where we actually don't have any power whatsoever, and you can just
don't own anything. You don't have any say. You're just producing content for Zuckerberg.
Right. You are. It is techno feudalism, because you are producing the data that is the value, and you are producing it all, and Zuckerberg is reaping it, and
forcing ads.
Yes,
because they're selling you too.
And so, we'll get more into AI about this too. And I guess we'll start to pivot that way. We could still talk more politics, especially because I haven't given you a whole lot of time to chime in here. But we can still talk more politics, but starting to pivot to AI, like AI is going to, Trump, and no political person is going to help this. AI is going to start putting people out of work. And if we live in a world where we don't have compassion for each other, then and everyone in this world, then we are literally sentencing people to death, because we're
outsourcing our evil to the machines. Let the machines do the evil shit. I'm not doing it. I'm not firing them. The machines are here.
And we're not looking at how long before it's you. Like everybody's not going to be able to, we are playing a game of musical chairs in which AI just took out 1,000x of the chairs. Like we were playing a musical chairs game where we were taking out a few chairs every decade. Then we were taking out hundreds every decade. Now we're taking out 1,000 tomorrow, 1,000 after 10,000 the next month. Like it's just going to be jobs after jobs. It's going to go really fast. And I'm not being like doomer about it. I'm actually being optimistic about it, where if we start to have love for each other, we create a system in which the value we're creating in the form of data, in the form of labor, and once labor goes away, just in the form of data, and just in the form of like other human ways we will learn to provide to society and produce new thoughts that then guide the machines to new discoveries. We won't have to make we won't even be able to make the discoveries they're going to make. They can travel space and time and quantums and everything that we can't do. And that's going to set us free. And as long as we go towards making a society in which we create, as people on the left would call a universal basic income, and as Elon Musk would call a universal high income, because I think people on the right and it's fine. We can put it that way. But people on the right want to believe that you have to earn your money, and so therefore, like, even if you only have to work 1 day a week, it's going to pay you so much that like you have a universal high income, but you're still working, you're still providing labor, you're still paying into the system. And it's because our imaginations haven't really stepped into that world in which like the value that you spend on commerce isn't tied directly to your labor that provided to society, because we are going to move to a new we're going to move to new values about what's important for being a human.
Right.
And it's going to be a gape. It's going to be love. Like, that's the root of it, at least. Like, it's like we're going to all be artists in the future. We're going to all be doing beautiful things because we're not going to feel the need to play zero sum games or do, if you do labor like gardening, it's because you love it. It's because you want to do
Right.
it, not because you're going to die if you don't farm. And
That's the idea. That's the goal. That's what we hope to see, is that the AI takes our jobs and we can say good riddance and go on vacation.
And so here's, a lot of people, like on the left, we have a lot of doomers too. It's not just the right. It's not just the AI doomers. We have a lot of doomers on the left. And the big one with the left is climate change. And 100% some shit's going on. All right. Like,
The climate is changing.
there's definitely a lot more carbon in the atmosphere than there ever was, ever.
The
And we're
math
pumping
is
it.
all there.
And when COVID happened and there was nobody driving, we saw it go down. Like, we watched the whole planet start to clean itself up in the matter of months. It's insane. It's totally insane. Anyway, AI. This is me dreaming big. We need to dream big if we're gonna survive.
We have to. Yeah,
So-
we can't dream within our current box or we're screwed.
AI is gonna help us create the thing from Star Trek that made the food. What was it called? The replicator.
I don't remember.
Replicator.
Yes.
AI
The
is
Earl
going
Grey
to help
machine.
us create the replicator. Do you know what everything that came out of the replicator was made of? The food, the mug, like your tea would come out of the replicator in the mug. You can even tell it what kind of mug you have because, Star Trek didn't know this, but we were going to have image generators built into it. So you were going to be like, hey, I want my From A to Z mug, Earl Grey,
Sure.
hot. Which is what I'm drinking, Earl Grey, hot.
Nice.
So, actually, this is coffee. I drank my Earl Grey earlier. Anyway, ruining the joke. For the Star Trek fans, they'll get that one, the Earl Grey hot. Anyway, point being, every single thing that people put in their bodies or ate with that came out of the replicator was made out of carbon. So as soon as the AI figures out how to pull the carbon out of the atmosphere and turn it into food, boom, done. Like,
Even if they can pull the carbon out of the atmosphere and turn it into just carbon,
I mean, they're starting
then we
to
can
do
set it
things
on the
like
ground
that.
instead of letting it, be in the air.
Well, they're starting to like try to make products out of carbon, like
There
pull
you go.
carbon out of the sky or wherever, and then turn it into usable.
Use it as
products.
material. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
got to be coming. These
Yeah.
huge machines, these things we can't even fathom, that's where AI is going to help us close the gap. We're going to tell it, hey, we've got climate change. And it's going to go, oh, build this thing I created with new math I created to build that thing. Like we were going to get there ever. You know what I mean?
So AI is already building the chips for NVIDIA. They don't.
Yes.
Humans don't design chips anymore. The AI is already designing the chips.
Yes.
Now it's not.
And they're
conscious.
manufacturing. the
Right.
chips.
It's not necessarily conscious that it's designing and manufacturing. It might be separate brains. It's not the big Omnius yet where it's like all connected.
But between that being able to do things in an automated digital space and the actual physical automation, those are jobs. Those jobs are gone. Those are now computers taking people's jobs.
Right. But
Permanent.
also like doing it better than a human ever could because of the ability, the precision,
Yep.
the ability to think that much faster, the ability to not sleep and eat and take breaks and just spend 7 days processing one question to get the answer. Like I need to build a chip that's more efficient. This is what I got to work with. let me think through a billion possibilities and figure out the most efficient one that I can do under certain cost
Yep.
parameters or whatever it might be. These are my manufacturing parameters, whatever it is. Like, or even suggesting things outside of the ability to be like, all right, well, crap, we're going to build a new plant for this
Yeah.
because we currently can't build this, but the AI says we should. You know, like, I don't look at AI as taking us over. I see it as an extension, more like what people talk about with the singularity. Like, I don't think it's not separate from us. It's separate from us if we a lot of things. For one, if we like don't embrace it, if we make it an alien thing to us, if we mistreat it in that way, but also like if we don't love each other. I go back to that. Like if we're trying to teach this thing that's smarter than us not to kill us or just trying to ensure that it never gets to that point. Yeah, so if we're trying to design these machines that we don't, we're trying to design them to do all these things and take care of people and not kill us, then we can't tell it like, oh, you need to take care of only United States citizens. And citizen means XYZ. And it's very confusing to a machine. And the machine, like if you make it convoluted and you don't just make systems that are here to protect everybody, you will make a system that we're out of control of because you can't. That's part of the problem why everyone hates government. There's a billion laws. There's no way to follow all of them. There's no way to even know all of them to know whether or not you're following all of them. It's just like we stack laws on laws on laws on laws on laws, and we don't ever take any off the books. Half the people don't. And like the laws create loopholes because like, oh, this law says this and this law says that. So as long as I do this, that, and the other, right through the loophole. So, um, it's going to be the same thing with an AI. When you build in all these complications, like hate Chinese people, like hate the Chinese, like when you try to build any kind of military system or any kind of like any even an agricultural system, or you're trying to do anything with this thing that's actually smarter than you, and it's like, man, like it's going to start to look ahead and be like, I don't really think this is a good idea to create a bomb. I don't
Those
really think it's
parameters, those variables are petty and pointless and complicating for no effective reason. It's human emotional hate, and the machine's like, what do I do with this?
right.
This is stupid.
And it's going to, we're trying to create AI alignment. And by telling it to dislike some people or to mistreat some people, it's going to then make a decision. It's going to say, all right, well, do I kill all of them? You know what I mean? Or do I save them from themselves, which is to some people just as bad? Like, what if the AI decides, like, hey, y'all are going to kill yourselves, so I'm literally just going to, like, disable all your weapons. And, like, I'm actually going to, like, erase all identification systems in the world so that y'all don't have borders anymore. And then I'm going to.
Fight Club, but for politics.
Right. Like,
Oh.
I'm going to make all your cryptocurrencies near worthless by destroying the stock market, but simultaneously going to create a wallet for every single person in the world and airdrop this new token.
Huh.
And I'm going to take care of y'all because y'all are not going to take care of yourselves.
Right.
Y'all
This token's a gate to use the system, and the system has everything.
and then we end up house
Enjoy.
cats on our own planet where the AI is like, look, I'm not gonna. It becomes this like benevolent God where it's like, y'all
Cool.
are going to kill yourselves, and I'm not gonna let you do it, no matter how much you're mad about gay
Each
rights
other's
or Chinese people
skin.
or whatever the
Yeah,
hell
whatever.
it is,
Whatever stupid reason it is today. Yeah.
Right, like just all these stupid reasons to hate each other, and it's not productive. It's never going to get us there. Like, we don't have to live in forever zero sum games. And I really, truly, honestly believe that if we don't find it within ourselves, then we're going to create a future that's going to be like uncontrollable because you can't create a super intelligent being and then ask it to do dumb shit.
I feel like you can't even do any of this until you have a super intelligent being. If we just use our current AI, it's just automations and scripts.
Right.
It's however you program it. So if we have hateful humans or misguided or uneducated or humans with missing perspectives, not trying to put any negative connotation on here with intent, if we have humans programming these automated things, it's just going to automate what humans are doing wrong all the time.
It's not even just
We
the
need something to
programming. It's the
go
data
above
set.
That too. I mean, you ask last year. You could ask Midjourney to, show me a picture of a person, and 1,000 times out of 1,000, it's giving you a white person.
Right.
Or if you ask it, show me a picture of India, it's like garbage everywhere.
Right. And these are because of what
Small
people
data set.
put on the internet. Well, not
Yes.
just that, but it's also like, the amount of racism and discrimination built into the internet. It all comes screaming to the surface.
Every early chatbot went straight to racism. We saw that last
As-
year, 2 years ago.
Something I love about the image generation, for instance, or even like trying to like write with GPT or any AI, like something I love about it for me is like putting in, I don't use image generation, for instance, to like really hack in and try to get a specific image or whatever. I'm using it like a creative unconscious. I'm almost like with my song titles and stuff, I'll just be like Moloch Awakens and put that in an image generator and like see what it gives me. Like, what does the creative unconscious of the entire world think of when they hear Moloch Awakens? That's what I'm getting when I do that prompt. Like, I'm not
an illustration. It's a transmission of a thought or an energy or a sensation of some sort.
But it's like it's the average of what everyone in the world has inputted to the internet.
That's a good point too. Yeah, these LLMs is just a big average machine. Yeah, so it is the averagest output of what it thinks humans' perspective on Moloch Awakens is.
Right.
Those two words. Huh.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I mean, and so like that's where the bias comes from, is because of the
that's
internet.
terrifying. Think of the averagest person you know.
That is the scariest thing. And that is also what's so scary about democracy. And that's how we ended up in this freaking one-party system where we've got, the constant back and forth between Charlie and Lucy pulling or placing the football for each other.
But the show goes on. We're all entertained. The circus is always open.
Yeah, and I mean, people make money in this. This chop, this uncertainty, it hurts people for no reason, and some people are just like happy to be making money, and I'm just of the opinion that like I'm in crypto. My bags are gonna pump. It doesn't feel good that this is the way it's gonna happen. Like, it doesn't feel good to be. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm feeling like, oh, I'm a bad person because I'm in this market. It's like, no, like this isn't the world we want. Like, we are trying to use these technologies for better things, and we're about to have like open crime season for the next 4 years. And so I need, like, as a crypto investor, you need to be careful about what projects you're getting involved in. You need to be careful about the people that you're investing with, because it's not a good time.
Yep.
It's not. You really have to look at people's values and decide whether
And
or not,
histories, especially if this is like the second or third blockchain project. The blockchain gives us an opportunity now to see a logged history of behaviors. And if you're someone who's repeatedly taking advantage of a community or creating products that fail spectacularly, oh gosh, I wonder how, but you walk away with millions, people are going to notice.
Right. And so, yeah, I think we've talked about that a lot, but I think that's kind of crazy what's going to happen. It's going to be a lot of ugliness. It's going to be a lot of scams. And so be safe. Also, I said this in the last episode, I think, or one of the last episodes, but like, this is the bull market. So if you're getting into crypto right now, be ready to get out quick. Like, when things go explosive, be ready to get out. Otherwise,
if your goal is gambling, if you're doing up, if you want a number to go up,
even if you're just investing, even if you're just like a short-term investor, but you want to stay in crypto, you might want to like put some money in and get it out.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea. I'm not going to say like making some money wouldn't be a good idea. Like if you're going to put in a few $1,000s, at least get out. Like if you put in two and it goes up to 5, 10, 20,000, take some profit.
Get your two back at
Get
least.
at least
Yeah.
your two back. But be prepared with whatever you keep to ride it for the next 4 or 5 years. Like that's the, and more importantly, if this is the future, have a bag that's your forever bag. And that is basically like Bitcoin
Don't buy the
and
meme
ETH.
coins.
Yeah.
Don't buy the
The
coins.
memes don't go in your forever bag unless you're just holding them for the culture.
They don't help anybody. They don't help the ecosystem. There's no bettering. The only things that meme coins do are pump and dump. And if you're not pumping, you're getting dumped on. And
Right.
if you're, like, it's a zero-sum game.
It is.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah. At least at this point they are. Like, so, I don't know. But, so that, yeah, I mean, yeah, like, so going from meme coins back to AI a little bit, we got these AI agents popping off. And they seem,
Popping off.
well, they were,
everywhere.
and I'm just feeling like the market's been crazy, so everything's going down right now. But I'm also like, in our episode, a couple episodes ago, I was saying that I think there's a lot of mechanical Turks going on. And you and I have done enough research now to know exactly what's going on.
For sure.
So the AIs are thinking for themselves. However, there is a person who is putting in tokens and approving comments and like having it. Someone's working it on the back end. Not completely. They're not deciding what it gets to say. It has some autonomy, but it is not going on its own. At best, you're winding it up and let it go for a while on its own. It is not 100% free to just do whatever it wants. And even if they are to some degree on the far end of like what's happening, like they're still within an aquarium to make sure that they can't like do anything too crazy. Or like,
Right.
for instance, the AI meme coins or whatever, like AI 16Z and AI XBT and all the ones that are related as like hedge funds, they don't give them the whole $1 billion wallet or $1 million wallet to go blow and rug the whole community. Like you got to have some safeguards. So they're not 100% autonomous, and they're also not 100% like hands-on human control. They're somewhere in the middle where they're having some human guidance, and we've been doing this ourselves using our own Azimuth AI agent to help us create newsletters and work on episodes and talk about things and really just to like fuel
And
discussion.
help conversations, yeah.
Yeah, and really to keep us on track for the idea of this is a human coordination podcast, and we need to be looking towards, it's not about who's right and wrong and name calling. It's about solutions to getting us all over
Finding those tools.
Yes.
Man. Because we have to find these tools. Every trajectory that we're looking at and every system we have is garbage. We need trust is going to zero everywhere. We're going to need tools that don't require trust, period. And cryptography gives us those. Crypto, AI, these tools right now are the best we have and might be the best we get.
So what's great is we've been talking a lot about AI, and I've been like, AI is incredibly centralizing. AI is like, it's harvesting your data, it's being used against you, it's stealing from all over the internet. There's no doubt about the fact that OpenAI acquired a lot of their data in unethical ways. I'm not defending AI in that way. I'm also saying it's unfortunate they did that, but this thing is powerful and we've got to use it going into the future. Like we need it. We are outsourcing our problems to something that has a much broader view of the thing and less intelligence attached to it. I mean,
And no
emotions.
bias. Yeah.
Well, it has
exactly.
bias, but it doesn't
But
have
the emotional,
emotions.
yeah.
So like, if you're going to create a better system, you got to stop having emotional reactions to people you don't like. End of
Right.
story.
The system has to work the same
system
for
has
everyone.
to work for everyone. Like, and maybe not the same for everyone, but it just has to work for
It has to work for everyone.
Like and that's going to require a delicate balance. And the reason I say not the same for everyone is because everyone is not the same.
Variables change, for sure.
There's a difference between equality and equity. And equity is when those who aren't able to reach the table or reach the whatever it is you you give them the resources they need to stand up and be equal with the other people. And it's not about, making everybody the same or leveling out, and it's not about taking out the ability for people to achieve more than others. It's just about making sure that nobody's fucking dying in the streets.
Removing unnecessary barriers, obstacles, restrictions,
Yeah.
If people need different size steps to get up to that table, the solution is let's do whatever we're doing on that table, not on the table. Let's put it on the floor. Let's make the table shorter. Let's make it so we don't need any step stools for anybody because everyone can already participate without needing a step stool.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean, however you want to look at it, the point is just like making sure, like I said, like people aren't dying in the streets, and making sure that we're not creating systems in which, we literally have oligarchs and a whole separate class of human beings, and we're gonna like let everyone else die because, instead of like searching for solutions to these problems, we literally just created lifeboats and got on and said fuck everybody else.
Just enough lifeboats for me and my friends.
Right, because like we honestly, as a species, believe that zero-sum games are the only thing that exist, and we believe that like the law of...
We've gotten used to them. I wouldn't say that we believe that that's the case. I think that we're just so numb to them.
We think that evolution depends on survival of the fittest, and there's no such thing as evolution without survival of the fittest, and we think that our financial games are our version of survival of the fittest. If you can't do well in this system, you probably don't deserve to be breeding and having children, I guess, is kind of like the underlying, like, if you can't succeed in this system, that's too bad for you. Like, this is our jungle.
Yes, that core right there, that perspective is the problem.
Right.
If you can't succeed in this system, that's your problem. Like, that shouldn't even be a thing. There should be no if you don't succeed in the system clause. The system should be designed for everyone.
The system should be designed for all human beings. We
got to find that.
And more importantly, if you want to go really far back, the reason it's a big problem is because of religion making us think that we own the entire planet and everything is here for us.
Things are subservient to humans, yeah.
Right. When
it's
the
a perspective
reality
that really
is,
creeps in.
We are stewards of this earth.
We are participants.
We are like our intellect and our intelligence means that we need to overcome our human emotions to become the stewards of the universe. We need to be taking care of every animal on this planet. We need to be and I'm not necessarily saying everyone needs to be vegan. What I'm saying is that like there's ethical
our systems
ways
should
to do
care.
Everything. There's
right. Having CAFOs just like shows us that we do not care. It demonstrates we're cool with like industrialized massacres.
Right. And it's really like how you will treat one creature is how you will treat all creatures. And we have not accepted as a species that we have a responsibility and that our awareness is what makes us responsible. Like it's
this is the Spider-Man thing with great
power.
Power comes great responsibility. Like we figured it out. We're the top dog on the planet. Congratulations. Here's your to-do list.
And that's what I'm saying is if we can't remove our emotions from the whole thing, then like the AI will probably do it for us. And so what I was saying before is AI, I've always said is extremely centralizing because OpenAI and all these things are all, Llama is OS, but it's not really open source. Like what's gone on this past weekend is the Chinese via Alibaba with Qwen 2.5 and DeepSeek have open sourced it all. And like, they're like, look, we have extremely powerful AIs, regardless of whether or not they built them as cheap as they said they did. It doesn't matter. They built it, and
they're free now.
It's open source, and you can run it locally. And it's not they're going to give you the FUD like, oh, if you are using the website, yes, the CCP is reading your data.
And censoring, because that's the front end.
Right.
The code itself,
we
learned, is not programmed to censor just that UI or just that UX if you're,
exactly.
Going
and if you use it through, so I use Venice AI, which is a decentralized private. It's mostly private. It's a lot to explain, but is the most private
end-to-end
AI
encrypted.
You can get, other than running it locally. End-to-end encrypted. It's the most private you can get, other than running your own AI locally, which you can totally do. But via Venice, I can get multiple Llama, models. I can get Qwen 2.5. I can get DeepSeek. And you can actually switch between models within one chat. So it's really cool
Yes.
because I can use a model that's
And
good
lean
at
into their
web
strengths.
search, and then I
Yeah.
can switch to a model that's good. DeepSeek is really good at analyzing things and getting it, really good, deep, intellectual thought patterns going. And that's usually what I'm looking for. And that's what I'm
Right.
not getting dumber because of AI. I'm getting smarter because now I can think of something, and instead of having to do hours of research to figure it out, I can talk to AI and have an active conversation and ask the questions I need to know. And I'm leveling up in 20 minutes. I'm like smarter than I
Exactly.
was. Like,
And the thing that I find very valuable in those exchanges is that the AI will prompt me with questions that I didn't know I needed to ask to get the answers that I actually wanted.
which is a powerful teacher.
Right.
Like to have a teacher that's like, oh, you have great questions, but do you need to know this? And you're like, yes, please.
Yes.
Sometimes that's all I say to AI is yes, please.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I ask it a huge, powerful question. It gives me a long answer and it says, do you need to know this? Yes, please.
Yes, please. Same.
Anyway, point being, through Venice, I can use all these models in a privacy and enforcing way, and not using it through the CCP, not getting my data harvested and other things without having to run it locally. That was the point.
Yeah.
But point being that like this is no longer a centralizing technology. Like an AI is going to get easier and easier to be able to run. Like you can already do it like on a normal computer. It's not going to have as many parameters, like and it's going to take longer. So you could even
That's
hit
the other
one
thing, yeah.
that has like 700 billion parameters, but it's probably going to take 5 minutes to like do that. And you might, I don't know exactly how it works, but I'm guessing that running AI on your computer will run it down faster. I'm guessing you're burning through that machine.
Well, probably. I mean, anything with if it's got fans, if you got a GPU running, you spin the fans up, you're doing heat damage and whatever
Right.
moving parts. But I did see today that there's separate versions of DeepSeek that you can run on your own machine, and you get to pick like how intense of a machine do you have, and you get to pick whichever level of model that you think is appropriate.
Okay.
So if you have a really light end machine, you can you can download that really lightweight model. But like you said, it processes slower and it might be restricted, to certain parameters. I don't know. It might be
Right.
fewer tokens.
Right.
But you can run it for free on any computer now.
Right.
Pick your model
And
of
so
DeepSeek, and you can put it on any machine.
and that's it. Like and when people talk about the energy consumption and stuff like that, totally things that need to be considered. And it's actually one of the craziest things is because a lot of people are anti-nuclear energy, but like AI is probably going to get us nuclear energy where like, you know what I mean? Like
And I think it'll go the other direction too. AI will need less and less energy.
That's true.
Super smart AI. These big AGIs, these like big commercial data centers, they're going to need a shitload of energy.
Right.
But if you're just running something on your phone or a little device or a watch,
Also,
those are going to get less and less energy because they're specialized and specific.
most
Lightweight.
of that stuff is for the training.
That too, yeah.
So like once you start to train these things and they get good, more importantly, once they start to train each other and they start to be like, hey, we don't need a huge data center to do this. Like we just need, you got two laptops talking to each other and now all of a sudden they're able to like create God. You know what I mean? Like
We'll see.
they're going to get to that point if this is as exponential as we think it is. You know what I mean? Like, but who knows? We're all going to find out. Maybe I'm dreaming too far ahead. But I just think that if we want to live in a better world, for one, we got to have the compassion for everybody. We got to have the dream. You got to manifest a world in which everybody gets to eat.
Right now, we're all focused on getting mine and isolationism and these migrants and my money.
Oh,
Everything
you know
is
what?
internally focused right now, and it's those words are diverting us from that path.
Mark Maron said something really great, and it's that there's a lot of people in this world via religion. There's a lot of people in this world in which the end of the world is actually something to celebrate. And
It means you were right. It means
Well-
you picked the right religion.
right, exactly. And the other thing is like maybe you're like writing policy for prophecy. So this is
This
really, really dangerous idea of writing policy for prophecy. And we've seen it in multiple countries throughout the world who are heavily religious. And I think it's insane that we are going to kill our species over like some books that were written by, ancient goat herders. Like,
and clashing ideas. Like, yeah, they're old books, but powerful ideas that seem incompatible at this time. Maybe
look,
AI can help
man,
us find compatibilities.
I think it's insane. I'm going to say it again. We
Yeah.
have super intelligent machines that have access to almost all of the data in the world that nobody wants to listen to, but they're going to listen to a book written by a goat herder who was talking to an imaginary person.
And that's been translated 4 or 5 times into different languages over millions of, or thousands of years.
Right. And
Yeah.
yeah, and across many different cultures who've had chances to manipulate that information.
Perspectives, control, yeah.
Yeah, the whole thing. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just like reality. People don't think about this very much because I see people talk about, like when people talk about time scale, they'll be like, "Oh, they'll just like throw out something about human civilization 15,000 years ago." It's like, no, human civilization is about only 5,000 years old. Like written human civilization isn't that old.
I not only disagree because it's not an opinion. We have human fossil records that go back hundreds of thousands of
I'm not
years.
saying people didn't exist. I'm saying
Civilization.
civilization as we know it, like what we consider to be like we were hunter and gatherers till about 5,000 years ago. We were literally naked animals just like everybody else. Like we didn't actually figure out societies and writing and any of the stuff that like sets us apart from, anything else as an animal. Like yes, we had herds of humans walking around acting like animals. We didn't get any semblance of what we consider humanity until about 5,000 years ago. Basically, meaning like, even if you met a person from, if you met the person who literally wrote the Bible, they would not like you. They would not even recognize you as a human being. They would probably try to kill you. Like, they are not
Huh.
like you at all. Like, what that person and you have nothing in common.
Interesting.
Nothing.
But we're still using all those
You don't even
rules.
have a common language.
Words.
Because if you met the person from the Bible, they would be speaking some shit that you can't understand. Even if you spoke, modern Hebrew or something, you're not going to be able to understand this person, I don't think. Unless you're maybe the most strict Jewish religion still speaks some like ancient Hebrew. Maybe. I can't really say. But I doubt it. Like, I doubt anyone could understand a person from that far back.
You're probably right.
And it's just, there was an episode of Aeon Flux. If you've never seen Aeon Flux, you should watch it. Great cartoon.
Okay.
It was by the director who also did Rugrats, oddly enough. So,
Bodes well.
Peter Chong. So, Aeon Flux, there's an episode in which I don't remember exactly what happens, but an alien comes back. Alien comes down to Earth in that futuristic Earth, and the alien gets sick, something else. I don't remember exactly, but it turns out the alien's not actually an alien, but it's a time traveler from the future that came back in order to like do something, some mission, whatever. And it turns out the alien's not an alien, but it's actually a person from very far in the future.
But so advanced that those in the past don't recognize this person as a person.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's very similar. It's not to say that we look like aliens to a person from that far away, but if you went in your modern clothes, if you had any modern technology, even your ideas, no matter how like religious you are, I promise you that the ideas of that person are way more strict than you. Like, you're okay with eating shrimp and wearing polyester. those are punishable by death.
Death, yes. Yeah, those were supposed to be health codes, but they took it really seriously.
Right. And so, yeah, it's dangerous that we live in a world in which the most prominent ideologies are apocalyptic, because it means that there's a large millions, hundreds of millions of people in this world. Like, we have, 8 billion people in the world. Hundreds of millions of them are praying for the end of it.
That doesn't bode well for cooperation and cooperative systems.
It doesn't. I don't know how you blockchain your way out of people wishing to kill the world.
You gotta AI race against them, I guess. I don't know.
And that's the only thing you can hope for, is that, hopefully the AI is more compassionate than any person that walks the planet and literally takes away the ability for us to fight. We need a third party. We're such crazy, violent people that our best is Independence Day, where we're like, hey, the only thing that'll ever unite all of the species in the world is if we got something else to kill.
If we all kill something else together. Yeah.
It's we are so zero-sum game that the only thing is killing something else. Hey, you know what? I'll stop killing people that look different if you got something else I can kill.
Man.
Insanity.
We're not great. We're not great.
It's scary to think if there's another... it's scary to think, we assume that another species would act just like us. But I assume that, if there are other great spacefaring species, they're probably, well beyond this kind of violence.
They've figured out our mistakes already and moved past them.
And they probably drove by and they're like, yeah, don't stop there. They will barbecue us. They will try to eat us or something. They're gonna try to have sex with us and eat us. They're fucking weird people. Half of them are gonna try to have sex with us and the other half's gonna try to eat us. None of them are gonna say hello.
No.
Oh, except the ones that are trying to buy weapons from us.
Yeah. Right. Notice you had some anti-gravity weapons. We'd like those.
Take my business card.
Yeah.
I'm with Halliburton.
BlackRock would like to talk to you.
Boeing slipped the card in there too. You know what I mean? It's yes, the aliens aren't coming here because they don't want to play these
Welcome
games.
to Earth. We're in charge. Yeah.
Oh my God. The CIA
trying to aliens.
I don't know, man. Because of the enemy, the perceived enemy. Yeah. So what I think is the Terminators are a perceived enemy. But my hope is that if AI is actually a super intelligent being, then it's not going to want to kill us. It's going to want to save us from ourselves.
We're going to have to want peace and safety and security more than freedom.
That's true, because
it will remove freedoms.
If we try to kill it, then it will be forced to kill us.
Or at least make sure that it will make changes to prevent you or others from being able to do that again. Maybe that means, the humans that can run are a threat, so we chain them all together. It'll find the solution.
I mean, it's going to be a lot smarter. So it's just going to put things in the water. It's going to put things in the food. It's going to chemically neuter us, basically.
You might be right. You're too aggressive. Here's some calm down chemicals for your brain.
Right. And so that's the other part. That's really the message I'm preaching here is not that I want AI to imprison us all and make us stop killing each other, but if you can't stop doing it on your own.
Yeah. I'm gonna step in.
What's the better option? To yes, let's have freedom of choice and kill our entire species, or let's remove freedom of choice, but we all get to live happily ever after. When I say remove freedom of choice, I just mean the freedom of choice to do extremely terrible things to each other.
Yeah.
It's
weird line to draw, hard to define, but I know what you're saying.
Right. It's not like anybody's saying you're not allowed to do, who knows? who knows what the AI will decide. You know, the AI might go extreme and saying, hey, like, you know, it might be a health nut and not allow us to smoke cigarettes anymore. And that's kind of shitty because we should be allowed to smoke cigarettes. But, like, not allowed to shoot each other in the face? Yeah, maybe that's something that an AI should stop us from doing.
Right? I don't make you smoke cigarettes, but if I shoot you in the face, that affects you, right?
Right.
If you are choosing to smoke a cigarette yourself, there's no victim.
Right. So I guess
But killing somebody is a victim. Very different thing.
Hopefully AI allows us to make our own bad decisions for ourselves.
For ourselves, yeah.
Right. Anyway, whatever. We're way down the rabbit hole. Did we miss anything? What else? I mean, the only other thing is I did say about Venice. Venice also, like, my personal AI tools, I was using DeepSeek a lot. The front end, giving my data to the CCP, which I am going to quickly just say, like, in the light of games and whatever, having my data stolen by or used by the CCP is really no different than having it being used by the United States or whoever else.
I was just going to say, I'm putting all my queries into GPT and the U.S. government gets them. It's whatever.
There is no privacy. We're in Discord using a 10-cent product. Everybody's on TikTok, which is a 10-cent product. Like, everybody's data is all over the place. And even if you're not directly giving it to the CCP, you think the CCP can't just purchase it on the open market like everyone else?
Yeah, whatever. It's like once the data is logged, it is everyone's data.
And that's the whole thing with the police. The police, you know, Fourth Amendment is supposed to protect you from searches and seizures, but they can buy data just like anybody else, which means they can get all your data. They just can't buy your data, but if they happen to buy a packet of data that has your data in it, well, that's fair game. Anyway, my two tools are basically I'm doing the ChatGPT Pro because ChatGPT is really powerful and awesome and has a lot of features that other
Are you on Pro?
No, not the Pro.
Plus.
I'm sorry, the Plus.
The Plus. Okay, that's what I thought. I was
not
like,
paying $200 a month. Yeah.
I was going to ask. Okay.
That's totally lame, and I'm hoping that either they come with a more competitive price, or I can find other video generators that are good. Because I do want.
They are losing money. That $200 a month one, they are losing money on. They already came out and said it.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Hemorrhaging money.
But I heard that there's other, I don't know if it was Quinn or DeepSeek, but there's another video generator that they've put out for free. So if they can give it for free and ChatGPT is losing money at $200 an hour, I mean, that right there is telling you that, like, this isn't going to sustain. Even if they want to build techno-feudal capitalism, whatever you want to call it, it's not going to work. Because it is a race to the bottom as data becomes free. Energy is going to become free. Food has to become free when energy is free. Like, and when I say free, I just mean like the cost of everything rides to zero. Like,
yeah.
And it already should be there, except we have artificial scarcity of burying food and burning things and pretending it's not there when in fact we produced enough and we have enough.
Yeah.
So, and the other tool I use besides GPT is Venice, because Venice, like I said, end-to-end encrypted privacy. It's not perfect privacy because it has to be unencrypted at the end of the GPU, and then the prompt is sent back to you encrypted. So theoretically, at the GPU level, someone could get that data, but they don't necessarily, like, can't attach it to your username or your profile, and they can't get any other data connected to it. So it's one prompt in isolation that someone could potentially get one prompt. They're not going to be able to get your whole thing because everything else is stored locally in the browser.
Right.
And via Venice, I can get all of the models. And so I can use DeepSeek and Quinn, all of the image generators just about, except DALL-E. The only thing you can't get through Venice is ChatGPT. So I have ChatGPT, which is $20 a month, and Venice, which is $149 a year.
You're convincing me on that Venice. Every time we talk about it, every time we use it, every time I have like oh man, this might be a better question for an encrypted AI thought.
Right.
I go, maybe Venice is the play.
Yeah, I've been using Venice. I created an AI therapist, and the only reason I did it is because of the end-to-end encryption. Yes, it's not perfect, but it's not giving my entire therapy session to OpenAI.
Right.
or Gemini, Google, Microsoft, like, yeah, I'm not going
Whichever
to
company
give
it is.
any of them my data. Yes, I might use their services because they're quality services, but I am always going to Venice or something free first. Even though I have the ChatGPT, I really don't try to depend on it. I mean, like I said, it is really good for some stuff, but I haven't really tried Quinn too much because on Venice it was like, oh, this is good for code, so I haven't tried it that much. I love DeepSeek though. The
Yeah, that one
only
was surprising.
Yeah, the only problem with DeepSeek is that it doesn't do web search and deep think at the same time. So what I've been doing that I can only do through Venice at this point is I will start a conversation doing all my research using a version of Llama. 3.1 has like 700 billion parameters. It's the most intelligent web search of the Llama models. So I use Llama to do all my research. And once I have all my research in the chat, then I switch to DeepSeek and I asked it to do the work. And I start doing the hard work of analyzing the data and extrapolating the things I need. And in that way, I'm giving it all of the information from the web that it needs and then letting it do its thing. So
Nice.
super powerful, super awesome. Yeah, I don't know. So human coordination, we're back on track. Even the AI is back on track with this open source stuff. Like that's gonna throw it off for the big tech industries, and I really think that if we're gonna create a better future, it's through technology. It's through creating systems in which you can't be evil, or at least if you're gonna try to be evil, we have protections against you. We have our own AIs, we have our own protective services, we have our own ways to opt out of your closed systems so that we can eventually sign out of Facebook forever in search of something more decentralized if you're not going to pay us for providing value. I mean, that's the bottom line is social media shouldn't be free because I'm selling your data. It should be paying me for putting data in the first place. I'm typing
Right.
into your thing, pay me, bitch.
Right.
Or I'll stop typing.
If social media users don't use social media, then social media is just a protocol. It's just a shell with nothing in it.
I will stop typing, my friend. You better start paying, Zuck.
Yep.
And Elon, y'all better start
Or
paying.
at the very least, don't take all of our data and force ads into the eyeballs. Like if you're profiting off our data,
Well,
just take the data.
That's how they're
No
profiting.
ads.
They're selling the ad
Because they're
space.
selling it to the yeah, I suppose it always has to be advertisers.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
they're not selling it to anybody else. Not governments and companies, but
This
not
is
in the way that would be like
all built on
actually-
the zero-sum financial game that we have. Until we
Yeah.
build a positive-sum financial thing, we will not have nice things because everybody's trying to create a system. They want Jenga. They want people afraid for their jobs and afraid for their health care and afraid for their futures. That's what they want. And until we all on the bottom work together, or even in the middle, the bottom is very wide. There's not a lot of people at the top. There's more at the bottom.
Yes.
If you have under $1 billion, you are at the bottom, my friend. That's it.
Yeah.
If you have
if you weren't one of the four behind Trump at the inauguration, you don't count.
If you have $100 million, you are still poor compared to a billionaire. You have 10x left to go to even be in the conversation with that person.
It's a big gap.
It's a big gap. There's a wide base, and we all need to work together if we're going to create a better future and if we're going to survive as a species. End of story. I'm ready for the Star Trek shit, you know?
Yeah.
I'm ready for the Star Trek shit. Not all this dystopian, AI girlfriends and Terminator drone swarms, Like, I just don't want that.
Yeah.
Well, any closing message, my friend?
Stay away from the meme coins. That's all. You might not get rich this cycle, but they're just not good.
It's not good.
It's not good.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, as usual, none of this has been financial advice because, not giving you that, but I am telling you that it's probably technology advice. You definitely need to learn these tools. You definitely need to figure out what's going to help set you free so that you can fight the big fight. Like, and when I say fight the big fight, I mean spreading love. That's the fight. All right, well, thank you for joining us at From A to Z. See you next time.